Hey guys, welcome to the Netgear Nighthawk 6700 version 2 setup guide. Now this setup guide will work for any of the Netgear Nighthawk's AC 1750 routers. So it doesn't matter which version your router is, as long as it is a R6700, you will be fine. Okay, I'm gonna go over the basics and a couple things for speeding up games and movie streaming, especially in 4K and hardcore gaming on the Xbox, PC, and the PS4. So first thing you want to do is completely factory reset your router. I know it comes factory reset from the factory, but you always want to factory reset it one more time just to clean out anything that may be on the router that could possibly be malware. So what you want to do is you're going to want to either, on the back of the router, there's a little button to the left. You're going to want to either press that button down and hold it for 30 seconds. It's either going to be on the back of the router or it's going to be under the router. You're going to want to press that in with a pin and hold it down for 30 seconds. If you do not want to do that and you're already on this page connected to the router, go over to Advanced, go down to Administration, go down to Backup Settings, and then right here you can see it has a couple different settings. You're going to want to click Revert to Factory Default Settings. You're going to want to hit Erase. It's going to do its magic. It's going to have a little blue line with a completion rate. Once that's done, your page is going to go blank. Make sure you reconnect to your router and we'll take back off. So for this router or review purpose, I do not have the internet connected to this router. So as you can see, it says internet error not connected. So yours will have, if yours have this, then there's an issue with the router and the modem connecting. What I would suggest is I would reset the modem, disconnect the router from the modem via the Ethernet port. Then I would reset the modem. Do not factory reset it, just either unplug it or press the reset button for 1 second. Once that's done, once both have fully booted up, especially the modem has fully booted up and all the lights are on, connect the Ethernet cable and you'll be perfectly fine. So, as you can see, I have the wireless set to Fish and Cheese, the SSD. Password is set to testing for YouTube. Now, whenever you're on this page, that's going to always show. So be very careful who's around you when you're on this page if you do not want your information being leaked. So if you want to, when you first get to the setup, it's going to set up your internet for you automatically. If you do not want to do that and you are more experienced with setting up the internet yourself, you can go to the internet tab, and this is where you're going to input all of your information to set up your router yourself. I recommend letting the Genie do it because it's quick, it's easy, and it's always accurate. But if you found out a way that you can do it that's a little bit better, then go ahead and do it yourself. And wireless is where you're going to set up your SSID or your wireless broadcasting name. So for the purposes of this review, I have my SSID set as Fish and Cheese Review. I have the broadcast enabled. If you enable that, what will happen is anything that you name your router will never show up on anyone's searches when they're searching for a router to connect to or SSID to connect to. It won't show up. It'll say hidden network. Then you have to click on that network and enter the password for that network, or for some devices you have to actually type in the name of the SSID, then type in the password and it'll connect. That's just an extra added feature for security if you feel like there's a lot of people around you that may try and hack your network if they can visibly see it. The security options are WPA2 PSK, then you have WPA PSK TKIP plus WPA2 PSK. I prefer to use WPA2 PSK, but my recommendation is do a little research, figure out which one's going to be more secure for your needs, because some do affect speeds more than others. For me, I typically use an extremely long password because none of my devices have to connect more than once. So once I connect them once, they automatically connect. I don't have to worry about it. So I always create a very complex, long password, so it's to help prevent hacking. So down here you got your wireless network for the 5 gigahertz band, which is broadcasted in AM and AC. So this is going to be the name for that. You can set it to whatever you want, but the default name for mine was Netgear 44-5G. Then you can choose your channels. You can choose what speeds you want it to go up to. Again, your security options, enable the SSID broadcast, and then your passcode or your passphrase. Once you have that set up, you're going to want to hit apply. Your router is going to do some work. It's going to reboot. You have to reconnect to the router again to get back to this page. Now, to get back to this page, you're going to want to type in routerlogin.net. I don't know if I said that in the beginning, but that's the address you want to use to get to this page. It's also written on the back of the router. Okay? So here you'll click to see your attached devices. Here's for your parental controls, which you can control different settings for MAC addresses or IP addresses. So let's say your child's IP address for his computer is 192.168.1.5. You can set that particular IP address to not be able to access a slew of different sites and pretty much child block the internet. So then you go to ReadyShare. ReadyShare is a sharing process where you can actually share files between the people who are on this network. Your guest network is set up exactly the same as your wireless network. But with the guest network, what you want to do is you want to have it name something completely different than your actual network. So that way your guests can differentiate which one to connect to, and you can as well. So you can click Enable Guest Network here to get it started. You can also click this if you want the guest to be able to see your other access your other local networks, which I would not. You can set the password to either none if you're at a business, or you can set it to any passcode. Down here is for the 5 gigahertz band. You can change it to whatever the name you want. You can actually enable one and disable the other one. If I were you, if you were having guests and you are either a small building, a small business, or you are, just a regular family, I would disable the 5 gigahertz band for guests, strictly because the 2.4 gigahertz band is going to be very quick and is quick enough for any short-term usage. The 5 gigahertz band is going to be mainly for heavy usage, and what happens is when the guests are on the 5 gigahertz band, it slows down your devices. So if your guests are over and y'all watching TV and you have your TV connected to the internet and you're trying to get the best streaming quality possible, just let them stay on the 2.4 gigahertz band just to keep the interference at a minimum. So go over to the Advanced tab. So the Advanced tab is going to have your router information and all these different things. It also shows you the status of your Wi-Fi for the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz band. It shows you the status for your network for guests on each band. You can go to show statistics to see different statistics for time, speed, and different things like that. You can also check your connection status to make sure everything is up and running, but everything will be up and running if your internet port up here is green and doesn't have a red X. You'll be fine. All right. So the setup wizard is where you're going to want to go to allow the router or network genie to completely configure your router for you. This is what I would advise for anyone who is not familiar with setting up a router. Just go to this, set this up, click next. It's going to be a couple questions you have to answer, a couple things you have to type in for passwords and whatnot, and it'll fully set it up for you. WPS, if you want to enable WPS, this is also going to be where you go. Now I do not enable WPS just for security reasons, but if you are a person who like it, it is very, very easy to set up. So now if you want to do it manually, click on setup. on internet setup, this is going to be again where you put in all of your information for your IP address and everything from your internet service provider so you can connect to the internet. This is going to be the wireless settings again, guest network. This is your WAN setup, so you can, in here you can set up a DMZ port, you can set up disable port scan and DOS protection. There's a lot of different things you can do in here. I wouldn't touch anything if you do not know what they are. If you want to know what they are, just do some research. So in your local area network, this is where you put in stuff for your local area network. Everything on your local area network is not broadcasted to the world, pretty much. Your local area network is just the things that are on your device. They do not communicate with the outside world. They get converted into a different IP address when they go to the outside. It is called global and local. QoS setup. So your QoS setup is going to, and I don't know if this is going to load because I'm not connected to the internet, but QoS setup is going to be perfect. Make sure you have these two enabled. The enable WMM for 2.4 and 5. Make sure those are enabled because they significantly help when you're watching movies and gaming online. Now, if you want to turn on QoS, you just click this button. You can run a speed test from Ookla. It's going to give you what your upload bandwidth maximum is. Then you can set rules for your QoS. You can say that, okay, I want the Xbox to get the max bandwidth, and every other device to get 3/4 of that bandwidth. That way, when you're on your Xbox has priority and it'll get the max bandwidth, limiting all the other devices, which will take a little bit less bandwidth to operate. So that way everyone is happy and there's no slowdowns or lags on your games. It also has USB storage via the front of the device. There's a 3.0 connector for USB storage. Under security, you have stuff like your parental controls, access controls, blocked websites, services, scheduling for when you want to have your internet cycle on and off. This would be really good for anyone who wants to save energy while they're at work and there's no one else going to be in the house. You can set it up for any day and any time frame. Then you can go to the download manager. Go under administration. Under administration, you're going to have your router status, logs, attached devices, backup settings. I would advise that once you get everything set up, that you go over to backup settings, you click save a copy of this current setting, hit backup. It's going to save you a file, keep it in a safe location. That way, if you ever have to factory reset your router, or if anything happens like a power outage or whatever it may be, you can always come back in here, go to restore save settings from a file, click the location button, and then find your file, and then click restore, and it'll take everything back to the way it was. All right. You can do firmware upgrade. With the firmware upgrade, it will check for firmware. I think the newest one is actually the one I'm on now, which is version 1.2.0.16. So it'll upgrade automatically, or I ask you to upgrade automatically once you connect. So under advanced setting, this is where some of the magic is going to happen for gamers and heavy video streaming. So you have your advanced Wi-Fi settings. I wouldn't touch anything in here. I just wouldn't touch anything in here. Okay. So you're gonna want to, particularly for gaming, you're gonna want to open up the ports for the Xbox, your PS4, or if you're on a PC for whatever game that you're actually playing. And how you would do that is you would have port forwarding connected or selected, and then you would type in the last the last digits for the IP address of the device that you want to connect. Okay. Once you hit add, you'll be able to edit the services or the IP external port addresses. You'll be able to, right here where it says external starting port, you'll enter for the Xbox, and the one is 3074, and then for the internal starting point, again, you'd put 3074, and then that's it. You're done. Make sure you save that. Once you save that, do it again for each port that you need to open, and then go up to the top, or well, actually, once you hit add, it automatically saves. So VPN service. The VPN service is actually OpenVPN. So I have not tested this yet. I haven't really planned on testing it, but the VPN is going to be great for those who use Kodi or any IPTV that they want to stay anonymous online with, or even if you're doing stuff like torrents. The VPN is going to be great for that, and Netgear has always had great VPN service. So you want to go down to UPnP, which stands for Universal Plug and Play. You're going to want to make sure that that's on. If it's not on, click it and then click apply. Now this is where things get tricky. This is the IPv6. So for the IPv6, in order to enable it, which Xbox recommends that IPv6 is enabled so that way you can get the best experience, you're going to want to click to, now it depends on who your internet provider is. For me, I had to click on auto detect. When I clicked on auto detect, that is all I did. At the very bottom where it says IP address assignment, click on use DHCP server. Once you do that, that is it. Click apply. Give it a little bit of time, maybe about 5 minutes or less, and it's going to start filling in right here where it says not available. It's going to fill in your IPv6 address for WAN and for LAN right here. Once that's done, anything that is IPv6 compatible will automatically connect to IPv6, which is far superior than IPv4. So, with that being said, that is the conclusion of the Netgear Nighthawk 6700 V2 router setup guide. If y'all have any questions or need me to go in detail with anything else, I can do a short write-up per person for whatever the thing is or the issue is or whatever the question is, I should say, and see if I can help you guys out. Once again, thank you for watching Fish and Cheese. Y'all have a blessed one.